It is wedding season across KELOLAND, but as families and friends gather to celebrate this summer, the final price tag for the party just keeps going up. Like just about everything, inflation is affecting nearly every avenue of the wedding industry. In tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, what it's like planning a wedding in the midst of record inflation. Meet Nathan and Maddie Woodall.
Have you gotten used to that last name yet?
No, not at all.
It's only been 2 weeks since they said I do at their dream wedding in Spearfish.
It was just perfect.
While their big day was everything they hoped for and more, the cost was also memorable.
We went into it with a very realistic expectation of like, oh hey, it's not going to be cheap to get married.
They had some help with planning from friends who'd just gotten married last summer.
Yeah, we literally got it wasn't even a ballpark, we literally got an Excel spreadsheet of how much everything spent.
But in just 1 year, those prices changed quite a bit.
I don't think it was necessarily a huge wave of shock right away. It was just a lot of little things that added up.
From flowers.
So our toffee roses have increased about $1.50 to $2 per stem.
To food.
If it's $1 extra a plate for hundreds of guests, that definitely adds up.
The long list of small increases ends in a much higher total bill for hosting a wedding this summer.
On average, people last year were probably spending between $25 and $35. And I would say this summer, we have a lot of people who are spending between $35 and $50.
These types of large weddings take months of extensive planning.
Well, usually weddings are 11 to 18 months out.
While some of the more stationary costs are secured at the start of planning.
So we lock our venue price in from day one. So if inflation changes, our bank interest rate changes, anything happens, our contract with the customer stays the same.
Other more variable vendors like caterers and florists could come with more of a sticker shock this summer.
So you want to be honoring to what was originally quoted, but also no one can plan for the type of inflation that we're seeing. And so we are seeing some add on an additional service charge or just increasing those prices in general.
Flowers are more expensive now. So I think that was one of the areas where we kind of cut back.
Like many couples getting married this year, the Woodalls chose to make some last-minute adjustments to their floral plans to help compensate for the rising prices.
That allows us a little bit more freedom to get more creative with stems that we can choose. And sometimes we plug in a silk toffee rose here or there, but that gives them the look that they want without raising their price a whole bunch.
Couples may be making similar last-minute changes in other areas to help deal with inflation while sticking to their original budget.
Yeah, we've seen a lot more last minute make it smaller weddings is how I kind of say it. So maybe we'll do without live band, go to a DJ, or we might do one type of meat, not two types of meat.
Those conversations are happening a lot more. So the thing that we try to do is just be super upfront with our clients.
Ashley Anderson with Jane Ray Events says wedding planners are especially helpful right now to navigate the constantly changing costs.
We're going to let you know, maybe even sometimes before the vendor lets all their people know.
We don't know what the future holds, what the cost is.
Tyler Childress is the owner of Laurel Ridge Barn, and in just 3 years in business, his operating costs have changed significantly.
First thing is propane costs. Last winter time was double. When you have a large venue and a lot of propane, you feel that.
So far, he's been able to absorb those added expenses without raising rates.
We're trying to not increase and trying to figure out other ways to add, like we just got a stage that we just ordered in for additional add-on and some other ways of giving a la carte options to our clients. That way, essentially, the fee for the venue stays the same.
But as costs for just about everything continue to climb, wedding planners say couples tying the knot next season will likely be paying even more.
If you're just starting out in the planning process, do give yourself a cushion of $3,000 to $5,000 for unexpected costs, because unfortunately they will come up.
If you've been planning your wedding for a while now, it may be good to update your price estimates. Even things like dresses, suits, or jewelry are all seeing some increases.
Kind of want to get things booked and paid almost as soon as possible, because
People are raising their prices all the time. It doesn't have to, it's not just one season, it's all the time.
The Woodalls are grateful they were able to book and pay for most of their wedding vendors before prices really started to soar this summer.
I'm glad that we splurged on what we splurged on, and I'm glad that we were able to save in other areas too.
And while the price tag may be a memorable part of every wedding,
you don't remember how much you spent on your catering. You remember the people that you were able to share that awesome experience with.
even record inflation is no competition for the celebration of the start of their happily ever after.
Regardless of like what you spend on a wedding, like it's going to be perfect, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be the best day ever.
Just look at their smiles. They are in their happily ever after. And while the cost of weddings is going up, venues say they are still booking out Saturday weddings at least a year in advance. Wedding planners say while couples may make some small changes to save money, the increased costs don't seem to be affecting the size of the guest list.